So, students, welcome. This is Jaideep Manocha, Associate Professor, Department of Information Technology, Arya College of Engineering and Information Technology, Jaipur. This e-lecture is for final year IT students. Subject is software testing and validation. In this e-lecture, we are going to cover the topics integration testing, defect bash, and system acceptance testing. All the topics belongs to unit number 2. So let us start these topics. So students, starting with integration testing. Basically, when all the components of a software are tested properly, it is known as unit testing, and when we integrate them, it is known as integration. And integration means each and every component will be connected to the other components. So integration testing means testing of interfaces. That means how the interfaces will work between the different components. Basically, there are two types of interfaces. You can see internal and external interfaces. So the internal interfaces are those that provide communication between any two modules within a project or within a software. That means the internal working is exhibited by it, and it is not exposed to the customer or any kind of external party. And second one are our external interfaces. About that we will talk later. So first, when we talk about internal interfaces, then we say that the internal interfaces are the interfaces those are related to basically communication, application programming interfaces, stubs, and some important terms like HLDs, that is known as high level design. So one of the method of achieving interfaces is by providing application programming interfaces. APIs enable one module to call another module. The calling module can be internal or external. Here we are considering the internal modules only. For example, we can say Java database connectivity is an example of an API. Second one, we want to say that not all the interfaces may be available at the same time for testing. So in order to test all the interfaces, when the full functionality of the component being introduced is not available, let's say some component is there and its full functionality is not available, then we use the term stub. What is stub? A stub stimulates the interface by providing the appropriate values in the appropriate format as would be provided by the actual component being integrated. So integration testing is done with test cases, which goes through the internal and exported interfaces. Next one important thing is high level design. Testing for internal interfaces require a complete understanding of architecture and the complete high level design, and how the impact of it on the software functionality is there. That is also a point that we should understand. In cases where exported interfaces are provided from the software, anyone who is going to test should understand the purpose of these interfaces, why they are provided, and how they are actually used by the developers and the solution integrators also. So for internal interfaces, knowledge of design, architecture, and usage is must. So this is the main point, that when we are going to check the internal interfaces, all these points should be kept into mind. So next is when we talk about external interfaces, you can see the second point, types of interfaces, external interfaces. Then basically the exported interfaces are external interfaces. These are provided through application programming interfaces, software development kits. The use of software development kits, that means SDKs, required an understanding of the programming language on which the API SDK is provided. So scripting languages are also the part where the APIs is written. So when we talk about testing of interfaces, both interfaces are important, internal and external interfaces. So let us move further. Now there is an important term that is known as defect batch. Before that, I will talk about two main kind of integration testing that is classified as top down and bottom up. You can see at the end of slide. Top down integration means integration from top to down. That means we have to integrate the components from top to down. So what is this top to down? Basically, the top down integration is assumption that all components provides all interface requirements of other components even while other components are getting ready. This is the thing. That means some components are under process, but still they are under integration. So if a component at a higher level requires a modification every time, a module will be get added for the same. So in top down integration, the methodology that we are using is incremental. Basically, as you know, that product is an incremental development where one or two components gets added to the product in each increment. Similarly, we do integration testing in the same way. This methodology pertains to only to those new interfaces that are added and those related interfaces that are impacted by the changes or increment in the product. Considering the bottom-up integration, it is just the opposite of top-down, where the components for a new product development become available in reverse order. That means we will start from bottom. Okay, so when we navigate from bottom up, then integration starts from component which is at the lowest level to the highest level, and we can also optimize the number of steps. We can combine 2 to 3 modules in a single one. So both are opposite things, top down and bottom up. So one more is there, that is bidirectional. Bidirectional integration is a combination of both top down and bottom up. It depends upon the requirement. Some dependencies are there. Here, let's say we have some components 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the individual components 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are tested separately, and bidirectional integration is performed. That means the integration will be moving in both the sides. One more name is there for this approach is known as sandwich integration. You can note down. So this is about integration testing. So now one more very important term is there, defect batch, which is very much related to your examination. So basically, defect batch is a type of ad hoc testing. You know ad hoc testing. I have explained in my class what is ad hoc testing. Basically, it is a kind of ad hoc testing where many people performing different roles in the company or in the organization test the product together at the same level. Basically, it consists many practices. Like here, I have listed 5 practices. These practices I am going to explain here. Basically, as the first practice states, enabling people cross boundaries and test beyond assigned areas. That means people will check beyond the boundaries. Second one is bringing different people performing different roles together in the organization for testing. That means testing is not for testers alone. Everyone can test. And one more thing is there, that if you are creating something, first you have to test. That means eat your own dog food. Next one you can see 4, care of documentation. So does testing wait till all documentation is done? No. You have to create documentation parallelly, and you have to update it also. So this is about a defect batch. Basically, it enables people, they can speak about, they can break the system in parts, they can check it. So we will have a lot of views, lot of results, and we will after that, after the defect batch performed, we will create each and every view in a creative manner. That means we will check all the testers' result. After that, we will see that what results are fruitful to improve the product. So basically, for defect batch, we have to choose a frequency and duration of the defect batch. We have to select the right product. We have to set an objective of a defect batch, that different people should check this thing mainly. After that, we have to set up a lab. After that, we have to monitor. And when we receive many issues, then we have to take actions accordingly. This is about defect batch. Next one is the important thing is system acceptance testing. This is again one more kind of important testing. The testing conducted on the complete integration products and solutions to evaluate system compliance with specified requirements on functional and non-functional side is called system testing. This is the definition. That means we have to check both the points, functional and non-functional. So let us see the non-functional points first. On the non-functional side, system brings in different testing types like performance load testing. That means we will put extra load and we will see the results. Scalability testing, that means how much extent, up to how much extent we can extend. Next is reliability. That means to evaluate the ability of the system or an independent component of the system to perform whatever we require. Okay. Stress testing is evaluating a system beyond the limits of the specified requirements. That means the system is performing well beyond the specified requirements that are specified in SRS. Let's say that disk-based memory, processor utilization. If we have limited memory, if we have limited resources, and if we are putting more stress on the same limit, then what are the results? So this is again one more kind of testing. Two more things are there: interoperability and localization. Interoperability is done to ensure that two or more products can exchange the information, use the information, and they can work together. When we talk about localization, this testing conducted to verify that the localized products works in different languages. You know about localization. That means each and every region and country is having its own local language, and the software, if working properly in each and every region, that means different peoples of different regions and culture are able to use the product conveniently. That is localization. So this is the non-functional side. When we talk about the functional side, then we talk about features and functionality, behavior of the product, product implementation. Next is defect detection, coding, and there is a frequency that we have to repeat it or not. So when we talk about functional testing and non-functional testing, then we can compare them. You can see at the next slide. Non-functionality testing addresses quality factors, behavior and experience, qualification of the product, architecture, design, code, failure problems, and configuration changes. So let us compare both the things, functional and non-functional sides. So when we talk about functional side, it involves product features. Non-functional involves quality factors. When we talk about the tests that are going to happen in both the testings, functional and non-functional. The testing aspect of functional is product behavior, but in non-functional we also include the experience. When we talk about result conclusion, then there are very simple steps in functional side written to check expected results. But when we talk about non-functional, huge data is collected and analyzed. So comparing the results variations, then it depends upon functional and non-functional things. When we talk about how the result will vary, then we say the functional testing depends upon product implementation, but non-functional as well as depends upon resources, configuration, and implementation. Basically, in functional we are focusing on defect detection, but in non-functional we are focusing on qualification of the product. And if we talk about that, what knowledge and skills are required, then in functional we should be having great knowledge of product and domain. In non-functional, product and domain is as usual required, but as an extra skill, we should know the design and architecture and statistical skills. Okay, this is again important thing. The failures that are normally happening in functional testing are due to code, but in non-functional, the failures are also happening due to the architecture and design problems. So these are the basic differences. You can refer the page number 133 of our reference book, that is Srinivasan and Ramesh. Then you will get a very good and depth knowledge of both the testing sites, functional and non-functional testing sites. So students, in this video we have learned about non-functional, functional testing, system acceptance testing. Then what is our conclusion? The conclusion is a system is acceptable when both the things are completed. One is your functional and second one is your non-functional side. So after that the integration will be accepted. So in our next e-lecture we will be moving further. We will take the next topic of that unit, number 2. Till then, thank you.